Hi, I'm Miles.
My name's Jen.
My name is Samantha. Hi, I'm Amanda.
Hi, I'm Ellen.
Hello, I am Andrew and I am a keeper at the Philadelphia Zoo.
I wanted to be a zookeeper since I was very young. Actually, it was probably since I realized that as an adult you need to work for a living. And being a zookeeper sounded like a pretty cool deal, so it's the only thing I've ever wanted to do.
I got into this field like a lot of zookeepers, love of animals, working with them, being around them, taking care of them, all of the above.
So I've always loved animals. I think most zookeepers have had a lifelong love of animals. And I've worked with animals in some capacity since I was 12 years old, starting with volunteering with animals, offering to watch dogs. But it was really in college where I decided that I was going to become a zookeeper.
When I was a kid, I used to watch Animal Planet all the time, Jeff Corwin, Steve Irwin, and I looked at those guys and I was like, I want to do what they do. Eventually, I found a school that majored in zoology. Originally, I wanted to do research, but after I did a few internships at a couple of zoos, I was like, zookeeping is where I want to be. And from there on, the rest is history.
My goal was always to become a veterinarian. That's what I always wanted to be. And then after graduating college, I decided to take a year off to apply to vet school. And then during that year, I took a job as a zookeeper. And that's where I fell in love with zookeeping.
I actually started as an adult volunteer here at the Philly Zoo, and I eventually was able to take on some animal care responsibilities, and then it kind of blossomed into this long career. A typical day for a zookeeper. First thing in the morning, I want to check my animals. I'm making sure that everybody's where they're supposed to be. Everybody looks bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Giving them breakfast, coming out cleaning.
We clean a lot of things.
I spend most of my day cleaning. And I do take care of some pretty large animals, so they make some pretty large messes.
Once the diets are prepped, clean stuff that needs to be cleaned inside, feed animals that need to be fed inside.
All the animals get medication as necessary.
Sometimes there isn't a typical day being a zookeeper. There are certain things that go great and everything is normal, but then sometimes you have emergencies. You have things that don't go according to plan.
Because I work with animals, no day is ever the same. My primary focus is just making sure that the 14 big cats that I do work with are happy and comfortable and feel safe.
There's a lot of trying to figure out an animal's natural behaviors and developing enrichment based on those natural behaviors. Anytime that I'm not doing the things that I just mentioned, I really try to go and get eyes on my animals. I try to sneak out into the public space, take a look at them, go spend some time with them when they're in a holding area, because by observing your animals, that's how you learn the most. You know what's working, what's not working, and that's how you become a better zookeeper.
And then I kind of like to, squeeze in some skull scratches in the midst of it. The best way we can make the animals here at Philadelphia Zoo feel at home is to mimic the natural habitat best we can.
We study their natural behavior, so what their wild counterpart, their wild cousins might be doing. And we try and simulate that environment here at the zoo.
If it's an arboreal animal, someone that lives in the trees, make sure you have a lot of climbing structures, multiple levels for them.
It's adding a scratching post, adding a mud hole for them to go in.
So take for instance the hippos. Hippos in Africa spend 16 to 17 hours in a lake or a river. Spending time in water is their natural behavior. So here at the zoo we always make sure that our hippopotamus have clean water to hang out in, to stay cool in.
We also have an amazing nutrition program that tries to mimic their natural diet that they would consume in the wild. Once I know about them as a species in general, then I like to know them as an individual.
Each cat is its own individual. They have their own dislikes and likes.
We know everybody's favorite foods and their favorite types of enrichment. Zookeeping requires a lot of different skills.
I would say definitely observational skills, especially working with big cats. Just cats in general, whether domestic pet cats and the wild ones, that they hide when they're sick or when they're injured. Unlike humans that I can say, oh, my tooth hurts or my finger hurts. Animals can't do that, so you have to be very good at observations
and notice that maybe the animal isn't chewing as it normally would. Maybe it's limping, because with those observations, compared to when the animal is feeling good and they're healthy, you'd be able to determine if they are sick or not.
I would say patience. When it comes to your animals, you gotta think of it like, there's kind of like a weird language barrier. They can read your emotions and you can read their emotions in a weird way, but you need that patience to work with your animal and see how you best communicate with them.
The other two skills that I think are really important is being good at multitasking and being a good problem solver, critical thinking. Animals are not always going to do what you want them to do, and they tend to do it at the very last minute when you're not expecting it. So being able to say, all right, this just happened, but I have 50 more things to get done, and then being able to get your day done in a calm, orderly fashion is really important.
My favorite animal to work with here at the zoo is probably the hippopotamus. They are so amazing. They have so many cool adaptations that help them to survive, whether they're on water or on land. And they're just such an interesting species that I've really enjoyed working with not only our girls, but learning about the species as a whole.
Goats, hands down. They just, I don't know, they just make me happy. They got great personalities and they're just great animals to be around and work with.
So my favorite overall animals are tortoises, and they live a long time too. They can live sometimes over 100 years, so you have them for quite a while.
If I had to choose, it would obviously be big cats.
My favorite animal to work with is honestly whatever species I'm working with that day. I'm really fortunate to be what's called an open relief keeper, so some days you may find me in the small mammal house or in primate reserve. So every day when I'm in the area that I'm in, I'm just really excited to be there.
I really enjoy the bears a lot. They are destructive and they like to eat a lot of things, and we share a love of peanut butter. So they're a really good time as well. The bears are super cool.
First and foremost, pets have been domesticated for tens of thousands of years. So the average person is capable of meeting the needs of a guinea pig or a hamster or a dog or a goat, because these animals have been bred to have specific qualities, and their nutritional needs, their emotional needs, and their spatial needs are pretty easy. They're pretty easy for people to comprehend. So I understand when animals are at the zoo, they seem like pets because you might see me in there feeding them, or you might even see me touching them. I always make a point to say I'm not petting them. This is called tactile training. It's so that I can desensitize them to me touching them, and it's always for a veterinary purpose. Behind the scenes, animals have a lot of people supporting them that you don't even know. We have nutritionists, we have a bunch of talented zookeepers, we have curatorial staff, we have veterinary staff, and we have maintenance staff, making sure their water quality is properly seen to, making sure that all of their climbing structures are tight.
The biggest misconception about our job is that we just pluck animals out of the wild. We don't do that. Zoos have come a very long way from just being entertainment. It's more about conservation and education. Our whole goal is to conserve and protect. We're estimated to lose quite a few species in the near future, and zoos are the last hope.
Because these animals that we have here at the Philadelphia Zoo may not have the same wild instincts that their wild cousins have, they're still very dangerous animals. Some of them are really large, some of them have really sharp teeth, some of them are quick as lightning. So we don't ever want to put ourselves, the keepers, in danger, we don't want to put our guests in danger, and most importantly, we don't want to put our animals in danger. So whenever we interact with them, it's always with the utmost of caution. Some of the animals are small, we are able to go in with them, they know the keepers, they know what our responsibilities are on any given day, that we are there to clean, we are there to feed them, we are there to do training and enrichment, we are not there to harm them. them. So they will get used to the keepers coming into their areas. But some animals are just too big, too strong, and too dangerous to do that. So we do what's called shifting, and we will shift the animal from room to room or from exhibit to barn, and the keeper will then access that empty space once the animal is secured out of that area.
Especially with big cats, for obvious reasons, we do not go in with them. Even though they're born in captivity, they're still a wild animal, and they still have their wild instincts, and they're very strong, they're very powerful, and they can easily injure or kill someone without even meaning to. We do have some contact with them, but it's always protected contact, which means there's always a barrier between us and them.
I think one of the things that people don't think about when they decide on a career in zookeeping is that it takes a lot of effort. It takes a long time to get into a zoo that you love. You really have to put in hard work. Many zoos require a bachelor's degree to even get your foot in the door. It's very competitive. So work hard, be positive, don't give up, and just keep at it, and you'll find a zoo that you really love and you really connect with.
Something that I want people to know is that the zoo has more than just zookeepers. I think that's a big area that people don't think about. When you come to the zoo, you want to talk to the zookeepers, which is great, but there are so many people at the zoo that make it function. I take care of animals. We do little construction things here and there with exhibits, but without the maintenance staff, plumbers, I can't even name all of them honestly, but without them, this place would not be functional. Zoos would be harder off a day-to-day basis. Why am I a zookeeper at the end of the day? I am a zookeeper because I love the animals. The animals are what get me up in the morning. They're what bring me in. They are what I care about.
I love being a zookeeper because I think it's an absolute privilege to work with these guys, with these big cats. Just being able to care for them and spend time with them and build a relationship with them, and it's an honor and a privilege.
I really love zookeeping because every day is different. There is a huge team of people that make this really work and work very well.
I do have a lot of moments at the zoo where I'm just going through, the boring, normal parts of my day, and all of a sudden I stop and I'm just like, wow, you are hand feeding a kangaroo. You are medicating a gorilla. Who gets to do that?
But what gets me to come here every day are these animals. I mean, I love these animals. I want to say to death. Well, pretty much, yeah, to death. I love these animals like no other. And just being able to work with them, it's just the greatest reward. That's it. It's the greatest reward.
It's unlike anything else in the world. When you walk in the morning and you can hear the lions roaring, and it's unlike any other job that you could ever have.
While zookeeping is a lot of work, and it's not all sunshine and rainbows, in the end, I get to work with exotic species that 8-year-old Samantha would just be like, you did it! How did you do it? This is amazing!
I really love coming in and doing something that's meaningful, and when I walk around the zoo and I see all of our guests smiling and all the kids just have this incredible sense of awe, and that's something that you can't get anywhere else.
Working at the zoo allows me to raise money and awareness for conservation purposes out in the wild. Without the animals here, people wouldn't know about them.
So I think that zookeeping is really what my passion is. It's the only job that I've ever wanted to do, and I get to come to work every single day and work with these animals that are just amazing, and I learn something new every day. There's not a lot of jobs that you can say, hey, I look forward to going to work every single day. Well, yeah, there is, and I have it.